In this video, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of buying an existing home in Florida versus building a home. And these two couldn't be more different. One of the biggest questions I get is, how does building a home work, right? And I always usually answer this question by talking about, buying an existing home, right? When you buy a home, you're not buying just the home, you're buying the land that the home sits on, right? We all kind of assume that that land comes with it because you're not just going to pick up and move the land. You can't pick up and move your house, right? But buying a home versus building a home can be very vastly different. And here's some of the reasons how it could be different. Difference number one is when you build a home, you have to pay for the cost of the construction plus the land. So you have to buy the land and finance the cost of the construction, usually all in one shot. Now, the biggest misconception that a lot of people have in building a home is that, well, I'll build it for much cheaper than I can buy an existing house for. Yes, in most areas, the cost of the construction is less expensive than buying an existing home, right? Common mistake that people make is that they don't factor in the land cost as well. When you factor in the land costs, sometimes building a home can be just as expensive, if not more expensive, than buying a home that's already existing. Difference number two, in a buyer's market where prices are falling, sellers of an existing home right now have more flexibility by and large to work with you over price, closing costs, etc., because the home is already built. So they have more flexibility in their price, so there's more room for negotiation. When you build a home, there's less flexibility in the negotiation because the builder has subcontractors that they get all their materials from. Those prices are already kind of set in. This is also where a lot of the talk in the overall economy with tariffs and everything else, this is where you can lead to inflated prices building a home because cost of goods and services are more expensive. A builder is never going to eat the expense of rising supplies. They're always going to pass that along to the consumer. The third difference, and I get this question a lot, what if I buy the land and don't build on it till later? You can do that. Now, unfortunately, most lenders have very limited resources or very limited loan options when it comes to buying land and land only. You could end up paying larger down payments. You may end up having to pay the loan off in a year. The amount of options available to you when buying vacant land is not what it used to be 15 to 20 years ago. So you want to make sure you check with your lender before purchasing that piece of land. Last but not least, like I said, the time frame that it takes to build. One of the things that people don't realize, especially in this market where they're wanting to sell their existing home to build a new property, most lenders will make you sell that home first unless you can qualify for both payments, which means you may be temporarily living in a rental or living with family, whatever your situation may be, for anywheres up to 9 months, 12 months, 15 months, however long it takes that builder to build. And you may end up having increased costs in rental, storage, whatever have you, that can add up over time and in some cases be more expensive than buying an existing home. So to summarize, is new always better? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Where we're in a full-on buyer's market, it may be actually cheaper and more advantageous to buy a home that's already existing versus trying to build one yourself. So if you have any questions about how each of the process works or which area is right for you, give me a call. Let's have a conversation.